Okay, so let's talk about probability. The very, very basics. Now, this is a recap for most people because you probably should have done it in year 7 and year 8. If you haven't, this is new to you. If you have, then this will be a recap. So, first off, we're going to look at probability basics. This is the word scale on top. So, so if something definitely isn't going to happen, we're going to label that impossible. Impossible down there. Okay, if something is definitely going to happen, then it's going to be certain up here. Oops, certain. And if something's got a half chance of happening, we're going to put it as evens in the middle. Okay, now anything between evens and certain, we label as likely. And anything between impossible and evens is unlikely. Unlikely to happen. Now that can be anywhere from, well, just above 0 all the way up to 0.5, just before 0.5. And anything between 0.5 and 1 is going to be likely, okay? So 0 is impossible, 1 is certain, okay? Or, as a percentage, 0% or 100%. Because remember, probability is always represented as either a decimal, a fraction, or a percentage. Okay, the vast majority of the time, I would probably hazard a guess to say it would be a fraction. I'd say maybe about half the time it's probably it's represented as a fraction in a GCSE, but still a strong chance of having percentages or decimals as part of it as well. Okay, so we've got 0, we've got 100%. In the middle, we're going to get 0.5, exactly half chance of happening, 50%. If you want it as a fraction, of course, that'd be 1/2. Okay. So, probability of me breathing within the next 5 seconds would be, of course, 100%. Probability of aliens landing right now in Yateley is probably as close to 0% as you can get. Probability of flipping a coin, getting tails, would be 50%. And that's your basics, okay? Just make sure, though, that when you are saying the probability of something that could either happen or not happen, it's not always going to be 50%, okay? It's not always going to be the case. Because, say we've got the probability of raining tomorrow. It's not always going to be a half chance of raining tomorrow. Based on the seasons, based on, the weather that's happened recently. It's not always going to be 50%. Yes, it could either happen or it could not happen, but that doesn't mean it's 50%. Doesn't mean it's evens. Okay? So yeah, that's the basics of probability. Make sure that you are either representing it as a decimal or a percentage. You will never see a probability of anything greater than 100%. You'll never see anything with a probability of less than 1. And it will always be a decimal, fraction, or percentage. Okay. Now, if you are talking about, really basic bits of probability, sometimes they like to give you a scale that's already divvied up like this. It might be the case that you're asked to find the probability of a 5 on a dice. Okay. Now, some of you might think 5 on a dice. Oh, 5, 6. That's up here, isn't it? Oh. Okay. Because that's only one possibility out of 6 of rolling a 5 on a dice. Okay. Now, if you are asked to say what is the probability of a 5 or less on a dice, 5 or less on a dice, that'll be up here because it's 5, 6. Of course, here is our 0, here is our 1, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things. Okay. Apologies, my cat is being very irritating now. Right now, Poppy, off. Okay. So that's very much the very, very, very basics of probability. I will be doing a couple more videos to go into this further, because we're going to do things like relative frequency, which is just another fancy word for probability, and we're going to have experimental probability as well, and we're going to have theoretical probability. Now these sound harder than they actually are. Experimental is just based on a set of results. Theoretical is just, you see a 6-faced dice, what's the probability of getting a 5? That is literally the basics of theoretical probability. Anyway, I'll do that for you next time. Thank you very much for watching.